I'm Dena Raymond. I'm the Assistant Director of Foster Care at Camelot Care Centers. We have a success story of a TST client that was successful in his treatment. But first, we're going to let other people talk about the TST process.
When we introduce TST to foster parents and to children, often there's some hesitancy and some resistance because it's something new, and they wonder if it's going to be something different. Is it going to work different than something they've already used? Is it going to be more work for them? And once we start to engage them in the moment by moments, I think they see that it's not more work, and it actually is very beneficial for them as foster parents and for the child, as they start to see that there are patterns in the behavior and they start to identify a priority problem with the TST team. I think they see that they can meet the needs of the child more efficiently. Also, when they see that the child has been in a survival of the moment state, they are able to meet that need better. Oftentimes, foster parents will say, "It came out of nowhere. I don't know why this happened." And when they see that the child was in a survival of the moment state and that if there was something happening, it was internal, I think that helps them understand the client better, and the child feels understood, and they feel like they can meet that need in a healthier way. And I think that helps provide them with some motivation to engage further into the TST process and to be more open to it. The TST team, it provides a lot of support and engagement. They're involved with the therapeutic process from the beginning, the foster parents and the child, along with the other TST members. And I think that that helps to provide some encouragement and confidence in them that they're able to go and advocate for the child in other areas. I worked with a foster mom, and we were in an IEP meeting, and the foster mom, myself, and the care coordinator were there with other school staff. And it became very evident that the school staff were not trauma informed. They had very little understanding about trauma or how it could affect a child. And so we had the opportunity to provide some psychoeducation, and the foster mom became very motivated, and she called the central office and got an appointment with the special education director. And that meeting was very successful. She went with the child and was able to advocate for him, and she was able to present some trauma-informed information to them and to go with the support of the TST team, knowing that we knew what the child needed. And it was very powerful for the child to see her advocate for him, and then also for him to advocate for himself. So I don't think that the foster mom and the child would have been able to do that if they hadn't had the confidence that they had gained from participating in the TST process. Overall, I think there might be some hesitation and resistance for foster parents and for children to get involved, but I think once they start to get involved, they're able to see benefits in the process, and then they're open to the experience of TST.
The most beneficial part of TST for the staff is the moment-by-moments themselves. It's the base that builds the rest of the treatment. Sometimes you don't even know what a child is being triggered by until you sit down, go through the moment-by-moments, and see that there's a commonality. It can be something as small as a smell to something as obvious as yelling. Sometimes the child doesn't even know what is triggering them until you go through the incident with them and they have a moment where they realize, yeah, that's what set me off. From there, you can figure out your priority problem and use that to more effectively and specifically treat them. Another benefit of TST is that it gets all the people involved with the child into their treatment. You can involve the school, specific teachers, coaches, therapists, bio families, and foster families. When everyone is involved and aware of the child's triggers, then we can be more aware of how to best handle the situation or avoid them altogether.
Bryson is a 13-year-old client who's been in and out of foster care since he was 4 years old. He experienced significant neglect, physical abuse, educational and medical neglect, and was a witness to sexual abuse. He is hearing impaired and has 50% hearing in one ear and is totally deaf in the other ear. He came to our agency 4.5 years ago with his sister after his mother tried to commit suicide and was in a medically induced coma and not expected to live. His mother survived this incident, but from that point on, she had an inconsistent presence in his life and finally surrendered her parental rights to both Bryson and his sister. Bryson has had no contact with his biological father since he was 3 years old, and his whereabouts are still unknown. From the moment he was placed into foster care, he had significant behavior issues, such as destruction of property, defiance, and physical and verbal aggression to both peers and adults. Bryson has had 6 different placements while in foster care and received inpatient care at 2 different residential treatment facilities. He was approved for separation from his sister due to her need for permanency through adoption, and Bryson refused to even talk about, let alone agree to adoption. At the same time Bryson was released from his 2nd residential facility, Camelot had begun identifying clients for TST. After completing moment-by-moments with him and the foster family, it was determined that his disruptive behavior were survival in the moment states, which prompted Bryson to be the 2nd client identified by Camelot to receive TST treatment. Before the treatment could fully begin, Bryson was moved to his final foster home. The move was prompted by his defiant and aggressive behaviors. Right from the start at this new foster home, the foster parents were engaged in TST treatment. The family was provided with psychoeducation and was engaged along with Bryson to begin the TST work. Bryson had one survival moment in the moment state shortly after placement, and the foster parents, along with Bryson, completed moment-by-moments. By this time, we had enough information to be able to identify a priority problem and complete the TST assessment, TST agreement letter, and begin phase-based treatment. The foster parents were able to approach Bryson in a manner outlined in the treatment agreement letter, and Bryson's behaviors noticeably improved. Shortly after beginning TST phase-based treatment, Bryson announced that he was ready to be adopted by his foster family, who was already willing and excited to adopt him. After he made this announcement, Bryson was very vocal about wanting to be adopted, and on the day of his adoption, he was the happiest I've ever seen him, and his adoption was finalized last week. Bryson's parents are currently working closely with his sister's adoptive parents on rebuilding their relationship. The siblings have begun visiting each other, and they chat online often.